Right, so here we have our table. Before we get to the code, let us get what this table does. We have 3 columns: language, year created, and use cases. By now, you notice that it's just a table of programming languages, the year they are created, and the use cases. Then on the bottom, we have one cell that spans 2 columns and has the text average year created. And then on the other 3rd column, we have a year, 1994. So this is a simple table, and what we want to do is to add some CSS to change it from this to something more beautiful. Now, this HTML code creates a table with 5 rows and 3 columns. The T-head tag is used to create the table header that contains the column names of the table. Now, in this case, the column names are language, year created, and use cases. So, this table contains data about programming languages, their year of creation, and their use cases. Let's add some styling. Now, this code is used to style the HTML table elements. Now, table layout fixed. What this property does is it tells the browser to use a fixed layout for the table, meaning that the width of the column will be determined by the content of the first row of cells. Now get this. This means that the width of each column is determined by the first row of cells. So all of them will have a consistent width. Now the second property, width 50%, simply sets the width of the table to be 50% of the containing element. So a div or the body of the HTML document. We have border 3 pixel solid green. This sets a 3 pixel wide solid green border around the entire table. So overall, this code will make the table 50% of the width of the containing element with a green border of 3 pixel thickness. Also, the table's layout will be fixed. We can check it out on the web page. We add additional styling here. Now, this is a CSS selector that targets the 3rd th element within a t-head element. So, the 3rd table header element within the t-head element. That is why you see the nth child 3. This code will make the 3rd th element to take 60% of the containing element. So the other 2 columns will share the remaining 40% width. The use cases column has a lot of text, so we want to expand it so that it takes most of the available space, because the other 2 columns don't need that much space. Now we add another styling instruction. The th, td, CSS selector targets both the th and td elements. That is the table header and table data elements. We're going to set padding to 20 pixels. Now this sets the amount of space between the elements and their borders to be 20 pixels. Eventually, this will result in more space between the cell's content and its border. We will apply the first selector rules to the table data as well. That will introduce a border between the table data values. We can make this border a single border instead of double, as seen here. We do that by setting the border collapse property to collapse. The border collapse CSS properties helps us set whether a cell in a table will have shared or separate borders. In this case, we're going to set the value to collapse. Now, if the value of this property is not specified, the default value is separated, and each cell will have its own border. That is what we saw before we set the property to collapse.